5 people are now charged in connection to a deadly weekend shooting in Caruthersville. 38-year-old Dominique Benson faces multiple charges, including murder in the second degree, 2 counts of assault in the first degree, and tampering with evidence. 40-year-old Chadrick Benson is also being charged with murder in the second degree, robbery in the first degree, assault, and tampering with evidence. 3 others have also been charged. 49-year-old Cassandra Anderson is charged with harassment, while 34-year-old Dearia Carter and 30-year-old Edward Shackelford have been charged with interference with a first responder. The shooting happened late Saturday night at a convenience store on Ward Avenue in Caruthersville, and according to court documents, an argument inside the business led to gunfire. 3 people were shot, including 33-year-old Adrian Hunt, who died from his injuries.